Welcome to Discover the Duncan Difference, a Duncan Financial Group podcast. Discussions in the show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer, member FINRA, SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Duncan Financial Group are not affiliated. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover the Duncan Difference. Today, I'm with Robb Stottlemyer, which I'm so excited he's a part of our BGA. And Robb knows all things life insurance. September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So I wanted to get Robb on here so he could talk and speak to all of that with all of his knowledge. So Robb, just to get us started, tell us a little bit about yourself personally, professionally, what you do here at Duncan.
Well, I've been selling life insurance, Emily, for 25 years.
Wow.
I know. Crazy.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So, sell life insurance. It took, years. I tried to, refine and hone my elevator speech on, what I did. And it revolved around financial services and financial coaching and life, all these different things. And now when people ask what I do, it's just, I sell life insurance. And that seems to... one of two things happen. Either, the room clears or, people say, oh, that's, and there's a story. There's always a story with life insurance. So
Absolutely.
Just found that just that direct, we sell life insurance seems to work the best. No beating around the bush. That's what we do.
I love it. So what exactly do you do here at Duncan with your team? What do you guys do exactly? So you sell life insurance, obviously, but What does that really mean?
So that means, our role, it just depends on who we're talking to, how the phone rings or the emails come in. So for our Duncan advisors, as an example, we work as a back office. So we'll help Brian Duncan or Alex Klein to research a case, help the health side, the financial side. We'll help with the researching. We'll help to find out what carriers work best in their particular space for that particular client. We run quotes, term insurance quotes, permanent life insurance quotes. We'll help with the presentations, and on occasion we'll help with the presentations too. So just depending on how close you are with the client, sometimes folks say, hey, look, I want you to ask all those questions about the prostate. I'm going to stay on the backside and just be, I'll be on the same side of the table as my client. We'll let you guys ask those questions. So we can work in that, hand in hand, joint work type of a context as well.
That's awesome. So what would you say is one misconception, or five, however many you want to give me, some misconceptions about life insurance?
Well, one perception is that it's hard to get, and that's not a misconception. That's true. Not everybody can get it, and the folks that want to get it, when the phone rings and people say, hey, Emily, I'd like to get life insurance. Those are typically the ones where, unfortunately, they've just had a health diagnosis, or they've realized, shucks, I should have done this 8 years ago and I didn't. So, misconception would be, I think cost is a big one still, a misconception. It's relatively inexpensive to get life insurance, especially when you're talking about term insurance for a short duration of time, regardless of your age. It's easy for me to say it's inexpensive, but relatively speaking, healthy 40-year-old.
I agree.
Well, yeah, and you hear it on the radio, healthy 40-year-old male, we can get you life insurance coverage for $28 a month. And it's like, really? Well, you have to be healthy. But even if you're not, you're on a couple medications and you're 15 pounds over your ideal limit, et cetera, maybe it's $40 a month but that always leads to, you have to start with the budget. Folks you have to know what the budget is. What can people afford? Those are all fact-finding questions. The close, Emily, what I've learned over the years is the close is actually made in the open, Yeah. Can't go back for the presentation and surprise someone with $8,000 of premium if, you have no idea what's in the monthly or annual budget.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I get off task here, Emily, easily. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Keep going. I love it. I think for me personally, I was surprised when I got life insurance, which I had put off for longer than I probably should have. But I think I was so surprised at the cost because one of the reasons that I had waited so long was I thought it was going to add this huge monthly bill. And really, it was like, if I just stopped going to Starbucks every day, I could afford it,
Yeah.
And so I think that is a huge misconception. And I also wanted to ask you, like, I feel like you want to get it when you're healthy and young. And I think that, like you had just said, it's usually when people have some type of life event, the health scare or something, that's when they end up wanting to get it. But really the best time to get it would be when you're young and healthy and don't have those problems, correct?
Correct. Now, that being said, if left to our own devices, there aren't too many people who just do that automatically, just wake up one day and say, gosh, I'm young and healthy, I should buy life insurance.
Exactly.
It requires an agent of change. Whoever's watching this video, if you're not asking to help someone to review their life insurance or to talk about life insurance, they're not just going to jump out of bed one day and want to do it. So, it does require, I think Brian Duncan always says, life insurance is sold. Maybe that was Dave Duncan, but yeah, it's sold.
Probably both.
Yeah, probably both.
Yeah. And you're so right. I mean, that is why we were kind of doing a review of some of my things. And my brother was like, do you have life insurance? I'm like, no. He's like, oh, we need to do that. It really is that prompting from a professional to say, you really need to be doing this, because like you said, people don't just jump out of bed and say, yeah, let me get life insurance today.
Right.
But it's so important. And I think people don't realize that. So like in your seat, I know that you see that, that it's super important and people don't always do it when they should. So do you have any examples kind of things, maybe people had it when they needed it, or just any examples that you have of that?
Yeah, a lot of can I go back one quickly? There was one misconception, and that is how difficult life insurance is to get. It's not easy. Yeah, everybody just can't get it. These carriers are, they have standards. They won't let everybody in. But we did have a case just in the last 2 months where a gentleman, 62 years old, high net worth individual, a top 5 client of a property and casualty agency, Keystone Agency in Eastern Pennsylvania, top 5 customer of the agency, had been putting life insurance off for years and years and years. And we started his process in reverse. And it was a big enough case we could do this, but we secured all of his records on the front end. We got the health piece was taken care of. We knew that he was going to be a good health candidate. He was a little terrified in the past few years that he was going to be declined. Like, he just didn't want to get the letter in the mail that said, we regret to inform you. And so when we reverse underwrote the case, started at the beginning. We knew he was going to be a standard risk. We knew what the pricing was going to be. And then the actual underwriting process only took like 2 weeks. And his first comment to the agency partner was, man, if I knew it was going to be this easy, I would have done this years ago. So I think that's a misconception, is how hard it is. As long as you set the proper expectations, producers out there watching, if you set the right expectations, you're going to have an exam. We're going to probably have to secure records. It could take 3 to 4 weeks to get those records. Just set the proper timeline. I think when you listen to the radio or the television commercials that say, we'll get you immediate coverage. If it sounds too good to be true, Emily,
yep,
probably too good to be true.
Is.
And I'm sure there are, we have some carriers who will get that instant issue. But again, you've really got to fit in that specific niche. Excellent health, no glitches. No speeding tickets, no new medications, no driving history in the last 3 years. So, for folks who can fit through that, you can get it. For most of our clients and customers and friends, there's a little more of a waiting game. But if you set the expectation, it's everybody's happy with the right expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So if you could hone in on the importance of life insurance and maybe some examples of why having life insurance is so important, and not only having life insurance, but having like the right kind of insurance and having it set up the right way. If you could speak to that a little bit.
Yes. We were on with a carrier partner just this morning. Your brother joined. We had a sales call for the life insurance team. We had a carrier partner from Cincinnati, and he said in all the death claims that they've delivered, nobody has ever asked. Nobody ever says, "Gosh, that was too much. That was too much." Of the death benefit that you delivered. And the other one was, nobody ever says, "Hey, what kind of coverage was that?"
Yeah.
So the bottom line is get the right amount of coverage, and the right amount of coverage we can help. There are calculators. We're doing an awful lot of financial planning now. You can sell the life insurance through the plan. It's not just Robb Stottlemyer saying, Emily, you should have $1.2 million of life insurance.
Yes.
The plan shows red and green. The green is what you have covered. The red is the $1.2 million gap. And now you can start to negotiate and say, well, maybe I should have 1.2, and you can go back and forth. And then we can show the pricing, and it works. It works. That's a congruent type of a presentation when you pull the plan into it.
The planning it's so incredible to be able to see, because I think it gives such a peace of mind to know that you have exactly what you need, and the fact that the planning takes in all kinds of things. It takes in the market, and it takes into account that life is going to happen, and knowing that despite all of those things, you kind of still have that target of like, this is what I need, and you're able to get that. And it's just, I think that just offers such a peace of mind for our clients.
Yeah, we have a lot of examples with, whether it's businesses that are able to stay in business and pass the next generation, businesses, that we've heard of that don't pass to the next generation because proper planning wasn't completed. And the same thing is true on the, anytime I have a personal pet peeve, Emily, and that is, I read obituaries every day. That's the first section that I jump to in the newspaper. And there's nothing worse than when I see, someone in my basic age category, the 40 to 60, and it ends with, please, consider the GoFundMe for Robb Stottlemyer's children, and their education plans. And it's like, gee whiz, I kick myself in the shorts, like, man, I wish I would have called that guy. And on the other hand, it's like, be responsible and take care of your family. Don't leave it up to everybody else.
Yes, a GoFundMe about a life insurance plan.
Right.
You really have to put that in place for your family, for your loved ones, for anybody who relies on your income. Even for even as a stay-at-home parent, even if you're a stay-at-home parent, you still need life insurance, because your spouse at work still needs you in the house. The things that you're doing, if you're not alive to do those things, they still would need to then pay somebody to be a nanny or to, cook, clean, do all those things. I think that people don't realize that even if you're not making money, you still need life insurance. And that if you are making money, you need enough life insurance to be covering your debts. You're transferring your debts to your loved ones, not just leaving money behind to survive, but they're taking on all of those things. And I think that's a really good example of not, if you don't have enough, if you're not able to leave behind, you kind of leave them not only at a loss of you, but then in this really stressful situation, which I can't even imagine, having to rely on a GoFundMe to be able to kind of survive or have those plans for the future.
Right.
It's crazy.
I mean, yeah, the therapy that comes from a parent, losing a parent young, and then all of a sudden, having to move out of the neighborhood, move out of the school district, move away from family, just move, whatever it is, just all that together. Like, gee whiz, for $29 a month, just secure a bunch of low-cost term insurance and take care of things just in case, because you just don't know.
Exactly. And we really don't know. And, you see so many people who pass away, suddenly, tragically young. And I just don't think it's worth waiting to see if you make it out alive or not, because none of us are making it out alive. We just don't know when the end date is.
Yeah. No, nobody makes it out. Nobody makes it out. One piece on that is, and more often than not, folks don't die, but what does happen is your health changes. So, when you buy a ton of term insurance when you're 28, 38, 48, that you can have for 20 or 30 years, the nice thing is if you buy quality term insurance with the right contract provisions, you can move from term insurance to permanent insurance with the stroke of a pen. You write your name on a new application, you send in a larger premium check, but you have guaranteed access to coverage that will last as long as you. That's called a conversion. And so locking in the insurability of someone in their 20s, 30s, 40s for the future, when they may have more income or when things are on their radar. I can't tell you how many conversations we have every week with people that, when they were in their 30s and 40s, they didn't even have children or, so they're not thinking about grandchildren. When they're 60s and 70s, folks want to help to fund their children's schools. They want to help to fund their grandchildren's education. They want to help to fund the church or the lodge or the shooting club that they're a part of that was so meaningful to them. So there are things that,
Yes.
the introspection that life brings, and then somebody's in their 70s and they say, gosh, I'd like to get that. Well, guess what? After 3 heart stents and kidney disease and, everything that comes along with being, advancing in
Yes.
age and our health, you can't get it. So lock it in, get it when you can.
That's such a good point. Because not only are you able to kind of get that lower price now, you're locking it in for life, which is so awesome. But that brings me to my next question. Can you quickly, and maybe this isn't something you could do quickly, kind of explain the difference between the different types of life insurance, like long-term, the term, like what does all of that mean? Just if I was a kindergartner, explain it.
Oh man. Well, if you're a kindergartner, I'd try to be showing you how to run our CRM right now, so we could help you with help us with calls, Emily. So life insurance, multiple varieties. The easiest is term, TERM, term insurance. Just like its name implies, it lasts for a term. Terms are 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 years in duration. There are some that actually, I think one carrier is 35 years now. But that's term. Term does expire, and it likely expires before you do. That was a question I always had. This is probably life insurance. You want to sell me permanent life insurance because that's where carriers make money. Well, we know that those permanent life insurance policies, Emily, those do pay. The death benefits pay on permanent life insurance policies. Very small amount of term insurance policies pay. So depending on who you talk to and ask, but it's under 10% of term policies actually go to death benefit.
Oh, wow.
So that's term policies. Term lasts for a term, typically lower cost. It's a lower cost because the carrier knows they're probably not going to have to pay that benefit. But it's the law of large numbers. You are putting that the risk pool of all people your age, your basic health class, your premiums go in, and you help to provide the risk pool for that larger death benefit amount. That's term insurance. The other side of the page would be permanent insurance. And permanent insurance can be made up of universal life insurance, variable universal life insurance, indexed universal life insurance, whole life insurance, guaranteed universal life insurance. So there are a number of different products on the permanent side. But again, permanent is designed to last as long as you do. That's the idea. Term is for a finite period. Is it do you have a finite amount of risk? Yes. I want to get my kids out of the house, or I want to get my mortgage paid off. Okay, 18 years, or my age 57, or whatever it is. On the other side is, I want to make sure that I always have cash flow available when I die for my wife, for final expenses, for a party, to pay off debts, and to not have to worry about her getting out of bed the next day and going to work. So what's that? What number is that? Well, that's always going to be $300,000. Okay.
Yeah.
You can fit that into your planning now. That's part of the permanent life insurance that you would own in your portfolio.
So when you are meeting with clients, you kind of are getting to know them. You're doing that fact finding, and then you are helping them to determine what is better for them, is doing the term or doing the permanent.
Yes. And that's a great segue. We didn't even practice this, Emily. But
I love it.
Most of the cases that we do today are, it's not an either or, it's an and, hey, there's an $800,000, you died yesterday, your family needs $800,000. You also mentioned that you wanted to always have $150,000 for your spouse and kids and church and lodge. How about we buy $750,000 of the term, $36 a month, and we add on to that $150,000 of permanent life insurance that's going to last as long as your family. It's going to grow and compound with an inflationary amount. So it's not always going to feel like 150. It's going to grow and compound over time, so that 30 years from now, it feels like 150 back in 2024. So that's, we do a lot of, we call them combo plans, just combination, term and perm. And you find that out through fact finding. You just can't throw a combo plan at Emily and expect you to take advantage of it. It's got to be value added. There's planning behind it. Facts, feelings. You got to have, and if we're going deep with our clients and we're doing a good job with them, that's the kind of thing, especially on the financial planning side, we're going to uncover.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. I think that when you're I just think that's such a benefit to a client to know that somebody like you who has been doing this for, so long and really understands it, that they can look at, that you can look at that for them and say, this is what's really going to be best for you. I understand what you care about, what you want to make sure is covered, and this is the best way to do that. And then adding in that element of financial planning is just awesome. Like when you're walking through all of those steps, I just think it's phenomenal. So
Yeah, let's jump back 14 minutes in our conversation to the gentleman who said, I didn't realize it was going to be that easy to get this stuff.
Yes.
We underwrote him first. He was also he was a combo plan guy. I think he needed $5.8 million is what what he required for his business planning and some personal planning. And the producer had just started with $5.8 million, a 10, 15, and 20-year term. And, we knew, because the producer did a good job, he got a budget amount, and he said, we can spend, $4,000 a month. He committed to $4,000 a month. So it was, at that point, it was like that 4,000, Emily, was the balloon. And I was just massaging and squeezing the balloon to find out how much term and how much permanent we could put in. So when the producer went back and positioned, hey, look, you're going to have $4 million of term insurance and 1.8 is going to last as long as you do. He was thrilled because he was thinking, he'd seen pricing incidentally on $5.8 million of life insurance. And he was like, I'm not going to spend $400,000 a year on life insurance, but he is spending $80,000 a year on life insurance. So
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. We had a farm, we'll call it it was a farm business. I mean, they had 12 employees, but, the patriarch of the family had three sons involved in the business. One son went to the big city and one daughter was in the big city as well. And so when he died, at his death, there was enough cash available to let three of the sons maintain the business, stay on the farm. They were able to break the farm up. And then the siblings who were not involved in the farm, we called it estate equalization, but they were able to have a death benefit amount that was created at dad's death. There was a death benefit amount that helped to pay those siblings off so that they didn't come back knocking on the door saying, hey, wait a second, y'all are, you guys have a $5 million farm. Where's our cut? Well, you had $1 million created for each of the siblings so that they maintained their relationships. They may have been in therapy for other things, Emily, but they weren't in therapy because dad didn't, remember anybody. I mean, it's, everybody was taken care of equitably, and they were able to maintain their business. Large farm, employed 12 extra people on that farm.
That's
pretty big deal in that small farming community for those guys to be able to keep it going after dad died.
Yeah, that's incredible. And then making sure that the business is then protected still, from the other siblings who didn't want to really be involved. That's amazing to be able to do that. I love that.
Yeah. We see that a lot, farm and land. Frank Zaraki's probably watching, or he might have tuned out by now. But, Frank has a lot of great stories, on a lot of, Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, farmland, logging land, and families that either did or didn't take care of things, mineral rights and all that kind of stuff. So,
I can't even imagine.
Kind of all flows back to the planning, but letting the planning dictate, but then having the life insurance to fund that planning.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. Okay, any other examples that you want to share?
Goodness sakes, Emily, I could keep going.
I can't even imagine how many examples you have.
Yeah, for better or worse, we've got examples. We have a lot of examples on the ones that, they really wanted to do that, but they waited too long. Or, gee whiz, Bill Adams may be watching. You may know Bill Adams' name. He's one of our regional directors out of Charlotte. Bill had a gentleman, great business. Everything was keyed up, ready to go. And he had on one of those new Apple Watches. And the Apple Watch caught the fact that he was having an atrial fibrillation event. So his AFib was going to prevent him from securing life insurance, at least at this time. There's a postponement there. But we have a lot of stories on folks who, we really wish they would have taken the coverage, secured the coverage, didn't, and then their health changes. Can't go backwards.
Absolutely. That's such a good point. I love that. Okay, so if somebody is just considering life insurance, say they're not a client of Duncan, but they are watching this and they are they're interested in doing life insurance, first of all, how would we help them? And second of all, how would they would just contact Duncan, correct? They would go through our website or give us a call, and then we would route them to you. And then how kind of would it work from there?
Yeah. So, I mean, and typically I think, folks inside Duncan, Colton, um, is a big point of contact that we have, or whether it's, any of the Duncan producers, they would then reach out to us, Emily, and probably help to secure the quote. Those guys,
Yes.
everybody within Duncan, they know what they're doing. They're asking the questions, they're dotting I's and crossing T's so far as not just throwing, hey, it looks like you need 250,000 of coverage. It's asking the questions first, getting to know people, relationship driven, and problem solving, and they're getting the right death benefit amount and the right duration of coverage in place.
Yes, exactly. And then on your end of things, kind of what can somebody expect? I know there's like the health exam, there's a lot of questions, like you said, the driver, that all of that stuff, but what's like a kind of a quick breakdown of what somebody can expect when they are trying to get quoted for life insurance?
The quote's easy. You just have to share your name, name, date of birth, state you're in, and then how much coverage you want, and how long you want it to last. Really, folks need to be absolutely honest. Whether so if you're a producer, you've got to make sure that you're asking the right prompting questions, and if you're just watching as a consumer, you're being honest and fair with the person who's helping you. And that is, we just need to know prescription medications. The one that's really bitten a lot of people in the last year or two, it's been, related to whether it's marijuana use, marijuana use, CBD, gummies, whatever, however you're ingesting. And it's a lot of folks. It's not just,
Oh,
you used to get one question a month, and now all of a sudden it's like one question every 25 minutes, It's amazing, how prevalent it is. And it used to just be a few states, and now it's, it's our entire footprint. Yeah. So it's the marijuana and tobacco usage in general. A lot of people say no to tobacco, but they're using, products such as, I know this is like a brand name, but Zyn, which is it's a nicotine delivery system. They're not smoking, so they say, no, I'm a non-smoker. But then all of a sudden they test positive for nicotine in their system. And then it's like, oh, shucks, really wish we would have asked the question a little bit better. Are you taking any form of nicotine supplements, whether it's a patch, gum, Zyn,
that's such a good point. Being
pipe
honest.
Smokers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one and it just continues to develop, not only the marijuana, but also the vaping. Vaping is just, for a certain subset, age category. It's amazing how many folks are vaping. If we're not asking that question specifically, they're thinking, well, I don't smoke, I'm a vapor. So they say no, and then it shows up. So just got to let us know on the front end so we can set the right expectations. I think that's, again, we're back to expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Okay, I have one more question for you. Why do you love working at Duncan Financial Group?
Why do I love working at, well, I love selling life insurance. And, I think Brian Duncan and I have, a passion for getting to know people, and helping. I feel like I'm a, servant leader on that side. Emily, we just like to help people. And the fun part is, we're able to help have impacts on families and businesses and communities, and, work in a place that it feels like home. I've been here, I'm on 13 years now,
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
like
awesome.
a long time, right? It's so
absolutely. That's a really long time.
Yeah. Just feels like, feels like home to me. It's, your brother and I have worked hand in hand in a lot of trenches together. So yeah, just that common, those common bonds that develop, out of the fire.
Yes, literally the fire.
Tie you at the hip for life.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And I think that I just think that you sum it up perfectly, and that you love to help people. I think that's a perfect example. You, Brian, the whole team, you guys just love helping people, and that just shows in everything that you guys do. So thank you so much for joining, Rob. We're going to have you back very soon, but this was a great introductory podcast episode for you. So thank you so much.
Hey, Emily, thanks for your time. Thanks for asking.
Yes. And thank you guys all for watching. We drop every Monday at 8 a.m. wherever you find your podcast. So thank you guys so much.